Welcome back everyone to Pontos Fathom Hobbies. This is turn 3 of Eldritch Horror Cities in Ruins. It's season 5, turn 3. And we are playing Shudmel as our great old one with Cities in Ruin, where we have devastations waiting to happen. Quick recap of turn 2. A mystery and a rumor and a gate all in the heart of Africa. So active mystery, exploring Garn, return to Garn, everything's Garn in the heart of Africa. And tentative plan to have Ashcan Pete and Bob Jenkins make their way down there. So let's get to it. Starting off with our lead investigator, Bob Jenkins. Action phase. He's going to do what he does best and get his acquire assets. So he's able to acquire assets, and he will, and also because he has a acquire assets, he just needs to get a 1. Everything is a 1 for him. So he also wants to get 5 Eldritch tokens here. So he needs to be strategic about that. So he does get 1. So he'll just take the Silver Twilight Host. He gains, his health is already healed. Well, actually, he can take this Lodge Hammer instead. Gain an ally. So Lodge Hammer, he gains an ally. Oh, but we need to save the 4 for next time. He needs a 3, or equal to or greater than. So he needs to take this 3. So he'll take this. He doesn't really get the benefit of healing, but he gets to gain a boon condition. He's already healed up. He can gain a boon condition. So he'll gain a boon condition. And then the Silver Twilight Host gets discarded. So this gets discarded. It's a service. So it was his first action. And his second action, he will move and take his train ticket. So he can move to the pyramids. And yeah, Bob Jenkins. Okay, so he also gains the next Eldritch token on his doing business arrangement. So he just needs 2 more here. Ashcan Pete. Let's just revisit our guys as we get to them. So next is Roland Banks. We'll take care of Roland Banks. He will let him heal up as well. He was in London, so he could do that. London. Roland Banks will have him heal up. He's not healed yet, so he can heal up 4, 5. And just review his The Truth Is Out There. When you gain a research clue, place an Eldritch token. Okay, so he did gain a clue, and he can add an Eldritch token here. He needs 3. So let's have him move as a second action, and he will do that clue encounter. Lastly, Ashcan Pete. Ashcan Pete has got so he will perform an acquire assets. Well, first he's going to move 1, 2. Oh, actually, maybe he should stop and close this gate while he's here, right? Maybe he'll stop and close the gate because that could get out of hand later. So, yeah, he'll stop to close the gate. Or should I risk it? Let's risk it because that gate's way away. So let's have him move 2, and he will. Gets to both perform just a wilderness action. Well, actually, I can still get here the next turn, so he will close the gate. And his second action is after you acquire asset. Let's have him try to acquire an asset. I need to put 1 more asset here in the pool. No. After after he performs an acquired asset, he may gain one item or trinket in the trash. Those are just services, so no discarded items or trinkets yet. So I love how he's going through the trash. I think that's very funny mechanism. So, and here I am, I'm checking the trash just like Ashcan Pete. So, okay, cool. Okay, so we have to, when you perform and acquire assets, you may spend 2 or more successes. Well, I'm never going to spend 2 successes unless I improve. So Sydney I can improve in, Shanghai I can improve. Maybe I'll move to Shanghai next and try to improve, because Ashcan Pete needs to have 2 or more successes. He's never going to have 2 successes at this rate. So, okay, so that will be the end of our action phase. Let's move into our encounters. So we're back up to the top with Bob Jenkins. He's on the pyramids, and he will just do a wilderness encounter. You search the ruins of a small village to discern what happened. So there's a ruins of a small village in Cairo, in Egypt. And he can check against his 4, 5. You're going to determine what happened in the ruins of a small village. He passes. If you pass, you find a journal that describes the disasters that befell this town. Gain a clue and spawn a clue. When you gain a clue during research encounter, place... Oh, it's during a research encounter only? Well, just during an encounter, I'm going to say let's gain a clue. Let's not be too literal here, guys. Come on. Okay, and now I get to spawn a clue as well. So I've gained a clue. Now I spawn a clue. So gain a clue and spawn a clue. Spawn a clue on 12. Kind of out of the way, but it is what it is. Maybe Roland can continue on to that one after Heart of Africa. And then Ashcan Pete can go off to Shanghai after Heart of Africa. Okay, so this is completed for our lead investigator, Bob Jenkins. Next is Roland Banks. Clue encounter on 4. It is a wilderness space. You explore a tunnel left behind by some sort of giant worm. Gain this clue. Okie dokie. He gains this clue. What am I doing here? Bob Jenkins gains that other clue. Roland Banks. Bob Jenkins gained the clue. And Bob Jenkins gained the clue. And he spawned another clue. Okay, so Bob Jenkins gained a clue. Now Roland Banks gains a clue. We're in a wilderness space. You hear rumbling. If you pass, you gain 1 additional clue. Okay, so let's see if he passes. So I'm taking this Eldritch token off Roland Banks. Somehow I'm getting those guys confused all the time. So this is Roland Banks now. Roland Banks is going to encounter in the wilderness. He's going to try to hide. He gets to roll this. He doesn't have the boon condition. He can re-roll 1 die with his... And he fails. If you fail, the creature leads you towards civilization, and Doom advances 1. So we advance Doom 1. So he doesn't get that. He loses his token. He does not have the Eldritch token. And, okay, so Bob Jenkins had gained the clue. Roland Banks does not gain his clue. So we'll just put this clue back here for him. He doesn't gain the clue. Oh no, he gained the clue regardless, but he's still, instead of gaining an additional clue, he gained doom. Okay, so he gained one clue, but he doesn't gain the additional clue. That was the test here. So the idea is you explore the tunnel, you gain the clue, which he gained, and then the rumbling in the tunnels, he couldn't hide, so he advanced doom, and now we are on to Ashcan Pete. So Ashcan Pete will try to close this gate. So he'll have a gate encounter, and again, for the gate encounter, it is Cities in Ruin, the Great Hall of Solano. You encounter an elderly version of yourself who claims to have spent years studying in the library. Your other self shows you several obscure books and tries to teach you a lifetime of occult learning. So he can roll his lore. Passes. You grasp the important lessons. Close this gate. Okay, great. Good job. Close the gate. However, your other self indicates there's still a great deal for you to learn. If you're willing to stay and encounter your studies, you may become delayed to gain 2 clues. I think I've got enough clues for now. I'm not going to become delayed. I need to get down to close these active mysteries, so no thanks. Okay, so that is that for the encounter phases. Confusingly enough, everyone's encountered. Let's move on to the Mythos Phase. So Mythos Phase, Hideous Apparitions. So first we advance the doom. Secondly, we do our reckonings. So the first reckoning is each investigator loses 2. So we'll take 2, 2, and 2. Each investigator loses 2. So these guys definitely have to rest. And I think this is what the mechanism of Cities in Ruin is nice, because you can rest early because it's a slow burn game. So we've advanced doom by 1. We've rested. Okay, the next reckoning here on the board is this roll of 1 die. On a 1 or 2, discard the card. So we don't, not on a 1 or 2, we don't discard it. So that's okay. So the reckoning of that is not discarded. The boon is not discarded. The Dark Pact, we roll a die. On a 1, flip the card. No need to flip the card. Okay, so Dark Pact is fine. Reckoning phase finished. Draw and resolve a disaster unless the lead investigator spends a clue. So I guess we'll draw and resolve a disaster, right? Let's just draw and resolve a disaster. We can save our clues. So the reckoning of this rumor is earthquake hits San Francisco. The ground itself rises and plunges ferociously. Bridges twist and contort, heaving those passing over them into the bay. Each investigator in San Francisco or an adjacent space, he just dodged that. He's not in an adjacent space, so great. Loses 3 health and 3 sanity, becomes delayed. San Francisco is devastated. Whoa, San Francisco is devastated. So we can go do a devastation encounter if we want to later. So earthquakes hit San Francisco. You can see from the image here. And luckily for Roland Banks, he was not in the adjacent space. So we've got our first devastation token on the board as a resolution of the reckoning from the active rumor. Okay, so next will be the spawn a gate, and spawning the gate is 1 monster. So let's spawn the next gate. Hyperborea space 13. We'll spawn a monster there from the monster bag. And we get a maniac. A maniac from the Cities in Ruins. The maniacs will rise. Okay, so here's the Hideous Apparitions. Now the horrid thing is not the only threat. The gruesome images of its victims have begun to manifest. The spectral figures demand justice, and they will not let you rest until their deaths have been avenged. So now you got the maniac there. You have this hideous apparitions. Event. Investigators as a group lose a total amount of sanity equal to the number of the monsters on the board. Each investigator that lost sanity from this effect gains 1 madness condition. So let's see. I think that we might be able to dodge this with some powers. Let's see. When you have only 1 health or sanity, discard this card now. He can. So let's have the Ashcan Pete. He can recover an additional sanity. So he can. There's only 2 monsters on the board. So let's have Ashcan Pete lose 2 sanity. And that's health. Let's have him lose 2 sanity. So he can. And then he can gain back the sanity on his rest. So he'll rest next time, and then he can gain it back. And then he has to gain a madness condition. So Ashcan Pete will gain the madness condition. Diseased, debt, dark pact, funding, cursed. So Ashcan Pete gains a hallucinations condition. When you perform a rest, you may roll 1 die on a 5 or 6, discard this card. Okay. So he's gained the hallucinations condition, madness. Okay. So that is going to wrap it up for that's going to wrap up the Mythos card, and it's going to wrap up turn 3. So we'll see you on turn 4. Check on the link here, and we'll talk to you in the next turn. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.